You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
File access granted.
They hunt in the shadows. They hide in plain sight. They prey on your deepest fears. You think you know what you saw, but they'll assure you, you do not. In the dawning of a new era, where the illusion of disclosure blinds the masses, an all too familiar threat still looms to silence those who would defy them. Join us as Cult Talks Conspiracy once again shines light on the shadowy figures lurking in the darkness and challenges you to question everything. This is Men in Black Encounters 3.
Welcome, all you believers, idealists, skeptics, and all those who question the universe around them. I'm Ty.
And I'm Bailey.
And this is Cult Talks Conspiracy, Men in Black Encounters 3, the third part of our annual Black Friday tradition, where we present the weird and mysterious and terrifying encounters with the Men in Black.
They're like little stalkers.
They're
just
stalkers.
I
would say little. I'd say
they're huge stalkers. Yeah.
Yeah, they are terrifying.
They're so creepy. Like, I was just talking about it with Ben this morning, too. It was like, the only thing that we can all agree on for Men in Black is the fact that they just creep us all out. That's all. Absolutely. We don't know what they are. We know that they're creepy. They're creepy AF. Like, that's all we know. Yeah,
we've talked about some really cool encounters here over the last 3 years that we've done this. We talked about Dan Aykroyd's encounter, Indra Cold, Dr. Robert Jacobs.
Yep, the OGs.
The Massachusetts couple that happened just last year. So that was a very recent one. Then we've done a couple episodes where we covered the Men in Black in depth way back in our first year. I think files 5 and 6, I believe.
Yes.
Or no, 5 and 7.
But yes, you're right.
Men in Black counters. Yeah, so we talked about it pretty extensively. We do this every Black Friday. It's our way of giving you guys something to listen to while you're out on the most holiest of American holidays, Black Friday, out to spend money and catch deals and let that Thanksgiving food settle. We love bringing these. I love doing specials. I'm always one for holiday specials. You don't see a lot of people doing Black Friday stuff.
No.
And you need something to listen to while you're out, cruising around store to store, looking for iPads or MacBooks, whatever it may be you're buying.
While you're in line, too.
Yeah, exactly. While
the
you're
lines
in line.
Are huge.
I constantly have my headphones in when I go shopping.
Really?
Oh, I don't like interacting with people anyways. I don't like the people that sit in the middle of the aisles and try to get you to change your phone service or whatever. Even if I'm not listening to music, I put my headphones in. So most time there's nothing really in. It's just I put my earbuds in.
So if you see Ty with his earbuds in, like he's choosing to ignore you.
Exactly. It's very much that.
The problem with me is I have an approachable, I'm just very approachable, even though I need the t-shirt that says looks approachable, but not. No, most of the time when I'm out and about, I'm like, no, especially Walmart. Because we brought up Walmart with the cell phone people in the middle. I always get stopped by them and I'm like, please, no.
Oh, I actively avoid them.
No means no, guys.
If I see them down the aisle, I just immediately go the other way. I'll do whatever diligence I have to avoid talking to those people.
No.
I don't want any interaction with anyone, let alone someone to stop me and try to consider changing my phone service or whatever it may be.
Well, the guys we're talking about today, they're not going to stalk you, but they'll stalk you.
They might stop you too.
They
won't
might
be wanting to
actually,
change your
yeah.
cell phone. They probably want more than for you to change your cell phone
Yeah.
provider or your electric provider or whatever it may be. But yeah, they give off very much the same energy.
Like,
I want nothing to do with them.
Yep, I don't want you to notice me at
Do whatever it takes to avoid them at all costs.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things I miss a lot of things about COVID era, actually. I quite enjoyed COVID era, but one of the things I enjoyed most about COVID era was the masks. I loved wearing masks because you could go out and no one could recognize you. You didn't have to take the chance of being spotted by someone from your old high school or someone you used to know. I love that. That was one of my favorite things. I could throw on my hoodie, a mask, and a hat, and I could just go undetected about my business.
I hated the mask. I hated them so much because I wear glasses.
That makes
always fog up. And then I was one of the girls that did the half makeup, the half face makeup. So I'd go on break at work and I would only have eye makeup on and a little bit of highlighter. It was great. No, I don't miss that time.
I wish they'd come back.
No. The good things that came out of COVID was the grocery store pickup. I'm pretty happy about that. That's good. They're doing great. I only do it when I need to, though. I used to do it all the time, but now I'm only down to when I need to.
I've done it a few times. I'm not the big. I feel like they always fuck up my order.
Yeah. No, you just get yours delivered to you.
Yes, I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. My old apartment, though, I did that.
Oh yeah.
That was the way I used to do it because such inconvenience. Now I live in a little more convenient area. I can go grocery shopping without the hassle. So, but yeah, back when I lived in my one apartment, it was so inconvenient. I just had my groceries delivered.
Now you live in an actual neighborhood. And
I live in an actual neighborhood. I can go out. My car's right outside my door. I can drive out the place. I don't pay for parking to park from my own fucking house.
So I have a problem with parking meters in the city in which I live in. I couldn't imagine paying for parking to go up to my house where I pay fucking rent. You can't work that into the rent. There's ways to get people to pay parking without realizing that they're paying for parking. Look at taxes for fucking God's sake.
I hate
be
that.
Smart.
I'm glad I live in a neighborhood now because it's a lot more convenient. But are you ready to talk about some Men in Black encounters? If you guys aren't familiar with our encounters episodes, we do them here every now and then. They're really fun. Basically, we pick a subject, and then Bailey presents an encounter, or I present an encounter, and we go back and forth and we discuss them. So we usually don't have any idea what the other one's going to choose.
Nope.
So it makes for a very interesting mixed bag of things. And as such, this year we're doing Men in Black again for our third installment. And I'm going to go and kick things off. Are you ready, Bailey?
I'm so ready.
So, our story. On a seemingly typical summer Tuesday on August 3rd, 1965, Orange County Highwayman Inspector Rex Heflin was going about his usual inspection tasks. As he traveled across Santa Ana, California, just after 12:30 p.m., he glanced out the window of his truck at the horizon and was shocked by what he saw. This mundane Tuesday had taken a very bizarre turn. Suspended above the road, defying all logic, he witnessed a metallic, domed disc. Not a plane, not a balloon. This was something entirely different. Although in shock, Rex knew this needed to be documented. He quickly reached for his Polaroid camera he used when doing various inspection things. 3 photos were snapped in succession of the object. But the object, as quickly as it appeared, began to move away, and it spit out a black smoke ring, which Rex would also capture in the 4th photograph. And these photos, you can find them online, Rex Heflin UFO photos. They're pretty prevalent. Rex then picked up his radio to call in the encounter to his dispatch, but the radio returned only static. Curiously, it wasn't until the craft completely vanished from sight that his radio would once again begin to operate as it usually has. This brief encounter would spread like wildfire as local news outlets began to report on it as a major news event. This thing was everywhere. The local television station, the local radio stations, the newspapers, they were all very fast to report on this. And he had photographic evidence, which that's a huge thing that at this time in particular, a lot of UFO encounters just didn't come with photographic evidence. It wasn't a common thing in the 60s.
No, it was pray tell of
it was very rare you would have someone produce photographic evidence. Rex's photos began to be circulated within the UFO community, praised as definitive photographic evidence. Now, these photos were also subject to extensive investigation from the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomenon, or the NICAP, a Los Angeles-based subcommittee who were dedicated to investigating various UFO sightings. And Robert Nathan. Robert Nathan was a renowned physicist who was a member of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He found these photos to be absolutely fascinating. He was even able to look at the photos and pick out several details that others just weren't able to pick out because he had a knowledge of jet propulsion and how these discs or how aircraft work.
I'd be pulling him into a room and being like, so what the fuck? Explain how you know this to me. Like,
Well,
I get it.
Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that.
That was a pretty big think tank. So
yeah, think tank, laboratory. Are these words not buzzing for you?
So he was able to look at these photos and find several things that he just found absolutely astonishing. He would call the photos groundbreaking. This sentiment, however, was not shared by the always reliable United States Air Force, who very briefly investigated the photos. It was very brief. They took the photos, checked them out, returned them very, very fast, and they came to the determination that this was a hoax and that the craft in question was a model that had been hung up by a string.
Okay.
Because you do see in the photos, you can see like telephone wire.
Oh.
Telephone lines. So their theory was that this thing was obviously, suspended in these lines, and it was just a big hoax. The photos have endured a very controversial existence with numerous opinions from various experts. There's a ton of different articles and little statements you can find from various people in the UFO community. And it goes like either way. Either people look at this and say, wow, these are truly amazing photos that show a UFO, or other people will have doubt and say that these are, it's a big hoax. It's something that, obviously a model, a pie pan, something like that. It's just tossed in the air and a photo snapped of it. But the circulated photos are actually copies. So any photo you find online is a copy of the original. They aren't the actual original photos, obviously. The original 4 Polaroid photos are in the possession of Mr. Rex Heflin.
Good.
Or at least they were.
Oh.
Yeah. On an afternoon in the early 90s, I found various things. It was like some people say 91, 92, but it was in the early 90s. Rex was at his house when a knock came at his door. Opening it, he was greeted by 2 men. These men claimed to be with the North American Air Defense Command, and they asked for the photos for an investigation they were doing on UFO sightings. Rex had always been cooperative to provide copies to any organization who requested them. He was very much anyone who wanted to take a look at these photos, he would gladly provide you copies so you could go about and do your investigations. He was very open to that. But these men did not want copies. They wanted the original 4 Polaroid photos.
Oh.
Rex refused, or at least he did at first. The 2 agents began to express deeply personal details about Rex's life and even those close to him. As Rex became more and more unsettled, they switched gears and began to directly threaten his life.
Oh.
Therefore, Rex reluctantly handed over the Polaroid cameras to these 2 mysterious men at his doorstep.
Eek.
Since that day, the original photos have never resurfaced. Copies of them have been heavily circulated and continue to be divisive amongst UFO enthusiasts. Now, officials have denied any knowledge of the 2 mysterious agents who appeared at Rex's doorstep, and also have claimed they have no idea of where these 4 photographs are. This has led many to believe that Rex had an encounter with the mysterious men in black. Continuing their quest to secure suppression by burying evidence of extraterrestrial visitations by any means necessary. I mean, in this case, you see very classic signs of Men in Black encounters. Threats, very ominous feeling in general.
Yeah.
The ability to seemingly know, things about you that you've told no one else. But that was Mr. Rex Heflin's encounter with what many believe to be 2 Men in Black who took 4 photos that a lot of people do consider to be some of the best photographic evidence of UFOs. Lucky for us that the copies are out there, or else they would be truly lost to time.
Oh, yeah. I looked them up while we were talking about it. And I mean, they are really, really good photos. It's kind of incredible that that's from 1965, in all honesty. That's terrifying. Again, like they go in under a certain agency, and then you call into the agency, or you're like, hey, I just want to follow up on this. And they're like, we, first of all, haven't even heard of you. Second of all, haven't even heard of what you're talking about. So no, I mean, just the sheer terror that these things, and I say these things because I mean, I don't know how else to describe something that's just as jarring as a Men in Black standing in front of you seems.
I mean, there's a lot of things to unpack with the Rex Heflin thing. I found a pretty deep document where it's like going over like all just like the photo investigations, because these photos did face a lot of scrutiny amongst various different organizations. But it was pretty interesting how a lot of these organizations took these photos and scrutinized them very deeply and put them through various different tests and analyzations. But then like the Air Force was just like looked at them for a little while and were like, oh, this is a model, and just handed them back.
Yeah.
They had like really no interest in looking further into it. But it does also, I think it's really weird that it's like 30 years later, these were taken in 65, and it was like very big news upon when they first reported it. But it's like 30 years later, these agents show up and take the photos.
Yeah, that's the timelines. Just the timelines are weird. It's like they missed something, and 30 years later, they had to come back for it.
Right. And that's already after like the photos have been pretty heavily circulated in various forums and newsletters and things like that. That these photos were out there, out and about, but they really wanted the originals. So it's kind of begs the question of like what's in the originals maybe isn't translated in the copies.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something there that just doesn't make it across that the original Polaroids had in them. It's just very weird.
It's some like alien elites kid hanging off the side of the UFO 30 years later. I need proof that the prince of this planet did this. I don't know why I made him slightly Russian. Yeah, slightly Russian. I don't know. Maybe that's the American in me. That's like villain.
Yeah, extraterrestrials. Or foreign people.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It could have. I think it's pretty interesting too. With where we are now with this like supposed disclosure and various different UFO reports from the military and government officials being re-examined. I think it would be interesting to see if there's any re-examination of the Rex Heflin photos.
Oh heck yeah,
that might be done.
Oh my gosh, I would love that, and I'd love to know why the Air Force dismissed it right offhand.
Wait, you're looking at the time period too. I mean, we talked about this time period a lot, where the government just simply refused to acknowledge any sort of unknown aerial craft in our skies because of tension that was already present for during the Cold War and things like that. That it would be you took the chance of inciting panic if the government was coming and be like, oh yeah, there's this thing in the sky. We just don't know what it is. But then you have the Soviets, working on different weapons and things like that. It would probably send quite a shockwave of people, being terrified of what else could be in the sky and who's behind them. Is it the Soviets? They're going to drop a bomb next that we're not going to know about. So I mean, it was this kind of like pride, and I would say trying to maybe suppress fears among the American people because of the time period.
Yeah, keep everyone kind of chill.
Yeah, because you need to in a time like the Cold War when tensions were higher than any other, higher than ever. The government really wanted the American people to like trust in them, that they knew what was going on, they had everything under control, and they couldn't be saying that there was these unknown flying objects all over the place.
Yeah, that would incite panic. That would be bad.
Or it would at least make the government look weaker than what they wanted to appear.
Right. Yeah. Because what if the answer really is, I don't know what that is?
Yes.
Then it's like our leaders don't even know what this is. So what are we going to do?
Because people, even if they aren't believing in extraterrestrials, their next question would be like, is it the Soviets? And there would be no answer.
Right.
There would be a way to definitively answer it.
Yeah. Oh, scary times, man. Oh, scary times.
Terrifying.
So it's really funny that you picked a photo and I also picked a photo.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So you want to hear about mine?
Yeah,
Who I
let's do
picked?
it.
Awesome. So I actually picked Mr. and Mrs. Jack Robinson. Their story really interested me because 2 reasons. Number one, the thought of having this happen to you is absolutely terrifying. And I couldn't really find a whole lot on this story. Like, this guy literally pops up just for this and then completely disappears. We're going to get into it. It's wild. So what if you and your spouse began seeing the same person outside of your home? Not someone that lived or worked there, but just a man standing and looking at your home. Not to admire the structure, but to study. And that is what a New Jersey couple, Jack and Mary Robinson, experienced in 1968. They lived in an apartment in New Jersey. Jack was a UFO researcher who, by assumption, was getting a lot of information and perhaps sticking his nose where it shouldn't belong. Everything else points to this couple just being an average Joe American couple.
Okay.
He goes to work.
But with an interest in UFOs.
Yeah, with an interest in UFOs. Now, the encounter, shortly after his research began, a tall man wearing an all-black suit and donning a fedora hat began standing outside of the Robinson apartment. And after the couple ran out to do some errands later that day, they came home and noticed that their home had been completely rummaged through. Drawers had been open, papers were scattered around, and it was like someone was frantically looking for something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And this wouldn't just happen one time. This would
But like nothing else was like missing?
No, nothing was ever missing. The home was just basically destroyed. Like, it looked like when you're having to look for like your social security card or something and you tear your entire house and bookshelf and everything apart. Like, it looked like someone was looking for something. And this wouldn't stop. This would go on consecutively for the next 3 days. The man would be standing outside the home, and whenever they left, they would come home and their home would be ransacked. So one day, on one of the last of these 3 days, the couple had actually decided to tell their neighbor, Timothy Green Beckley, everything that was going on. And when Timothy challenged them and said, like, there's no way that guy's standing out there right now, Jack showed him. Jack was like, look out the window. He's there. So Jack showed him, and then Timothy saw it. Timothy said, I need to get my camera, and ran out and actually was able to snap a photo of this man outside of the apartment.
Oh, wow. So actual like physical like photo of a man in
Physical
black.
photo. Yes.
Those are rare.
Very, very rare. Very rare. Now, when you look at the photo, it looks like a man just standing inside of a door threshold. Just, he could be waiting on a taxi. He could be just out for a smoke break because he does have his hand sort of on his chest. I can't determine. I don't think he's carrying a briefcase. But when I first glanced at it, I thought he was, but maybe that's just me wanting to see it. Black fedora hat and everything. White collar, all of that.
So I guess, was there anything like, did Jack and Mary like get a photo of a UFO or something?
No,
or
that's
the
the
information
thing.
that he was being, just the information that Jack was being, I guess, given access to from whoever he was, whatever research he was doing, basically.
Oh, the research that he was doing. And that was the thing, because I tried like hell to find the research that he was into. And it's like, I can't find it. I don't know what this man was doing. But after the photo was taken, the man was not seen in front of the apartment again. And simultaneously, Jack's research appears to have stopped because there are no records that I can find on it.
Wow. So like pretty much like this photo of this man in black was like it. Then this,
yeah,
like Jack and Mary just like never like
nope.
anything of prominence again. Like,
nope. This is the only documentation I found on Jack and Mary Robinson was in regards to this man in black counter.
So like that's very rare. We've talked about, I think, a few times over the years about men in black evidence. Like there's not a whole lot aside from the stories and these encounters of these agents, but there are very few photographic instances of them. You have the Niagara encounter, where I think it's picked up on CCTV, and the
hotel.
Those are the only two I can think of. The Niagara Hotel CCTV, and then this. Like, I can't really think of any other time that the men in black have been actually photographed. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So, and it's weird because this is actually considered to be the second real piece of evidence, or rather the first, because Niagara came after, first piece of real evidence of the men in black. Only none other to that of Shane Savar, which is the video of the two large men in all black suits with abnormally large eyes walking through the entrance of the hotel, who coincidentally were also searching for Savar that very day. Now, the woman who spoke to those in particular men in black said that it was like, she claimed it was like the men could read her thoughts. Like they knew what she was thinking.
Yeah, and that's a weird photo. Like the video from that is weird anyways, because like you can get a pretty good visual of the men in black, and like they don't even look real.
No.
It's insane. Like their faces do not look real. It's like masks.
Yeah, and
it's wild.
The way they move, like they don't have like a normal human walk. Like they look like they're gliding.
Yeah, just very bizarre stuff. I mean,
it's nuts.
It seems like, you know, we talk about with the Men in Black. It's like it's so formulaic, their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have they're very methodical. You know, they're going to go out. They're going to threaten you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make you fear for your life. And that's how they get what they want, is through fear.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Jack stopped his research after his family, him and his wife, were harassed by this guy, like this Men in Black, standing outside of their apartment and then coming home. And, you know, they would lock the apartment. They would make sure like windows and doors and everything were good. And then they'd come home and everything is in shambles.
Wow.
It's just
such an invasion of like your personal space too.
Yeah.
Like that's gotta be the worst. Like I know I had my car stolen once.
That was bad.
Before that, I had like my car like broken into a couple times, and like that. I remember like just feeling so like violated.
Yeah.
Like it was like, you know, like they took a couple things, but it's like still, it's like it just felt like such a violation of my space.
Yeah. I mean,
someone was like in my car, or you know, took something that was mine.
Mm-hmm. I feel that way when like it doesn't happen now, but like when people would get into my desk and everything at work. I shouldn't say that doesn't happen now because it's never happened at the job I currently have. But yeah, like because it's like that's your space, like that's where you do everything, and then to realize like, oh shit, someone was looking for something in here.
Yeah,
you know, and whether or not you know what it is that they're looking for, that can be even more terrifying. I hope Mary was in on it, because like I hope Mary knew that her husband was researching some shit. Otherwise, that would be fucking awful for her.
Oh, he'd have some explaining to do.
Yeah, you got some explaining to do, Jack. But yeah, I loved this. I thought this one was really cool because, you know, I didn't get to find out what it was that Jack was into, but the fact that he was so terrified that this is the only mention of Jack and Mary Robinson that I have found regarding the Men in Black and their names, pretty fucking bizarre.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if it's like ceased immediately.
Oh yeah,
you would think that even after getting a photo of a Man in Black, they would be like, you know, that would be kind of the start of his career. You know, now he's the guy who photographed the Man in Black, but just to present this photo, then just boom, gone.
He didn't even get the photo. His neighbor was the one that went out and got the photo. Like Jack seems like he was absolutely terrified of this guy.
He probably, I imagine, through his research, probably had some idea of who the Men in Black were,
what they could do.
About, so probably just want to do everything he could to avoid, you know, any sort of interaction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fucking blame him, man. We were just talking about all that.
Yeah, we've talked about some pretty wild encounters over the last few years. The Men in Black are definitely not one to fuck with. That's for sure.
No, like if I ever see some UFO shit, I'm keeping it to myself. And if someone shows up at my door wearing a black suit and a fedora, even if it's a joke, like, listen.
You have seen a UFO though before.
That wasn't a UFO. That makes me sad. I was hoping, like, that was the greatest moment of my life until Elon had to come in and ruin it. I just want everyone to know. Like, it was weird. Like, we're going to have to re-release that video now. Because, it was
put the
weird.
audio in here. I think Mike's editing this one. Go ahead and put the audio in here, Mike.
Oh my God. Oh, it's great. It's fucking great. Happiest moment of my life until I realized that Elon was just fucking around with some satellites.
Well, thank you guys for joining us here for another Black Friday special. Bailey and I here just give you something to listen to while you're out traveling and doing your various Black Friday things. We hope everyone had a very fun, a very safe Thanksgiving. Hope you guys ate a lot of food, enjoyed yourselves, and enjoyed this episode. Go back, listen to the other ones. You know, we have a whole bunch of Men in Black content if you're really interested in that. This Tuesday, we actually just released an episode of the Montauk Project. That's super interesting. And we'll be back here on December 10th for our next episode. I'll be talking about gang stalking, which kind of falls in line with the Men in Black stuff.
Interesting.
It kind of falls in line with that. So get back with us on then. Bailey and I are here every other Tuesday to talk about conspiracies and cryptids and various unknown, mysterious things. And you guys will have heard Eric's voice in this episode. He's done the intro for us each year, so we try to bring him back as kind of just that added bit of tradition for these Men in Black episodes.
Oh, yeah.
He's with the Cult of Lore. They come out every first and third Thursday of the month. And make sure you follow youtube.com/culttalknet for the full video experience they work really hard on. So, and that covers Warhammer and various different history and lore and all sorts of stuff. It's a deep dive podcast. You guys really enjoy it. We have Cult of Campbell, Cult of Russell. They come out on Mondays here and there. Cult of Campbell is our first podcast. We started way back in 2021.
Ooh, yeah.
So check those out. There's a whole bunch of backlog episodes from Cult Talk Net across various feeds, American Pie Slices, Cultober Plus, all the things. So many podcast episodes out there if you guys enjoyed this. But we'll be back here December 10th. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you had a very fun Thanksgiving. Have a very safe Black Friday. Be careful out there.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you guys follow us at Cult Talk Net across the board. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the things. We keep you guys up to date on what we're doing, and you can message us and leave a comment or whatever you want to do if you have anything to add. Let us know what you guys think of the Men in Black, and do you have any interesting Men in Black counters?
Yeah.
All they be personal or just one you've heard on Reddit or online, or whatever it may be. I'm always interested. We're always interested to hear about creepy Men in Black counters because it truly is one of the most mysterious phenomena in ufology. So always looking for more encounters.
Absolutely. They're like they've been called the cleanup crew.
The UFO boogeyman. I've heard that one.
Really?
Yeah, the boogeyman. Yeah.
I would love to hear more stories regarding both of those. But yeah, guys, let us know in the comment section.
But that does it for us, guys. I've been Ty.
I've been Bailey.
And until next time.
Question everything.